In 1959, a surgeon touched an electrode to a patient's brain, and something strange happened. The patient was wide awake. Brain surgery is often done that way, since the brain itself feels no pain. And with a gentle pulse of current, the surgeon could reach in and brush against a single, specific feeling. The patient said, "I've been here before." The surgeon lifted the electrode. The feeling vanished. He touched it again. "I've been here before." Again. And again. That eerie sensation we call déjà vu, the absolute certainty that a brand new moment has already happened, turned out to have a switch, and sometimes your brain flips it by accident. You know the feeling. You step into a room you've never entered, and your mind floods with recognition, while another part of you insists, correctly, that recognition is impossible. Déjà vu is French for already seen, but the strange part isn't the seeing, it's the split. Your brain holds two opposite beliefs at once and knows something is wrong. Most feelings don't come with their own fact check attached. This one does. Hold on to that. It's the key to the whole mystery. Roughly 2 in 3 people report experiencing it. For most, a few times a year, each episode lasting seconds. And it has a signature. It peaks in your teens and 20s, then steadily fades with age. Whatever déjà vu is, it happens more when your memory is at its sharpest. That's backwards from what you'd expect of a glitch. Remember that too. For most of history, explanations reached past the brain entirely. Ancient thinkers saw echoes of past lives. 19th century spiritualists called it proof of prophecy. You dreamed this moment and forgotten. Even early psychologists struggled. Sigmund Freud filed it under suppressed wishes. The problem wasn't a lack of theories. It was that déjà vu is almost impossible to study. You can't schedule it. It ambushes you at a bus stop, lasts 5 seconds, and leaves no trace. For a century, science mostly had to shrug. The way in came from medicine. In some people with temporal lobe epilepsy, an intense déjà vu arrives reliably, seconds before a seizure begins. The same feeling on a timer. For them, it isn't a fleeting curiosity, it's a warning, that overwhelming sense of the already lived arriving like clockwork before the storm. Neurosurgeon Wilder Penfield, mapping patients' brains before surgery, found he could evoke it with electrical stimulation. That 1959 scene wasn't a one-off, it was repeatable. Déjà vu lived somewhere, the temporal lobe, the neighborhood of the hippocampus, your memory hardware. So, is déjà vu just a tiny seizure? No, and this matters. For almost everyone, déjà vu is completely benign. The epilepsy cases were the flashlight, not the diagnosis. They told researchers where to point. Here's what that hardware is doing every waking moment. Your memory runs 2 separate systems. Recollection retrieves the actual file. This cafe, March, with Sam. It's slow, detailed, effortful. Familiarity is different. It retrieves nothing. It just stamps the moment. Known. Fast, vague, automatic. The system that fires when you recognize a face at a party but can't place it. You felt it 100 times. The neighbor whose name won't come. The song you're certain you know. That's familiarity, working exactly as designed. Quick, confident, and completely blind to the details. Usually, the two work as a team. Familiarity raises its hand, recollection supplies the receipt. Déjà vu, most researchers now think, is what happens when the stamp fires and the file drawer comes back empty. An alarm with no fire. A feeling of known with no receipt. So that's the what and the where, but it leaves the biggest question wide open. Every alarm has a trigger, so what exactly is pulling this one? The answer came from a lab that built fake worlds to set the feeling off on command, and it finally explained why déjà vu convinced people for centuries that they could see the future. To catch something that lasts 5 seconds, you have to cause it, and a psychologist named Cleary figured out how. At Colorado State University, Cleary's lab spent years hunting the trigger. They built virtual worlds, gardens, junkyards, hotel lobbies, where some new scenes secretly copied the spatial layout of scenes people had explored earlier. Same geometry, different skin, a hedge where a couch had been, a fountain where the junk pile stood. The trick was almost surgical. Keep the shape of a place identical, swap out every surface, and see if the brain still whispered, "Been here." People walked in, and déjà vu reports spiked. The brain had recognized the shape of the place, but the original memory, wearing different clothes, stayed hidden. Stamp, known. Receipt, missing. And it explains the everyday triggers: hotel corridors, airport gates, generic kitchens. The modern world mass produces layouts. Your familiarity system was never built for a planet full of identical rooms. Then there's the spookiest part, the feeling during déjà vu that you know what happens next. This is the detail that convinced generations of people they were remembering the future. It's a seductive idea that déjà vu is a glimpse of a script you've already read. Cleary tested it directly. During lab-induced déjà vu, participants felt strongly that they could predict what was around the corner. Their actual predictions? No better than chance. The certainty was real, the knowledge was not. The premonition is part of the illusion, familiarity leaking into the future tense. There's also a version of this story with the volume stuck on. Neurologists have documented rare patients with chronic déjà vu, people who refused to watch television because they'd seen every episode, who wouldn't read the news because they already knew it. Some stopped trusting anything new. Their familiarity system wasn't misfiring occasionally, it was stuck in the on position. For the rest of us, a few seconds a year is the system hiccuping. If it's happening many times a day, that's a conversation to be had with a doctor. So assemble the clues. It strikes when memory is sharp, not failing. It comes bundled with the correct knowledge that the feeling is false, and it fires hardest in places built from recycled geometry. One influential view ties it together. Déjà vu isn't the malfunction, it's the detection of one. A fact-checking process, likely involving the brain's frontal regions, notices the false stamp and flags it before you act on it. In other words, part of your brain is quietly auditing the rest, weighing the feeling of knowing against the evidence, and raising a hand when the two don't match. That's why the feeling has that alert, uneasy edge. It isn't the error, it's the error message. And young brains may get it most because their fact-checker is wide awake. The alarm fades not because memory improves with age, but possibly because the checking does less checking. So the next time the world feels pre-recorded for half a second, enjoy it. You just caught your own brain catching itself in a lie, in real time, and being honest enough to tell you. That's not a glitch to dread, it's a tiny, everyday marvel. Somewhere inside you, a quiet fact-checker never clocks out, keeping you honest about your own memories. Most of the time, you never notice it working, but every so often it taps you on the shoulder, just to say hello. So when that warm, familiar shimmer rolls over you, don't shiver, smile. Your brain just pulled off a magic trick, then turned around and explained exactly how it was done. It's a strange, wonderful machine, and it's yours. Enjoy the show. If any of that rearranged something in your head, hit like. It helps the next curious person stumble onto our video. And also, consider subscribing. Next week, there's a brand new question, and when it shows up in your feed, it'll feel strangely familiar. That part won't be a glitch.